Howdy everyone. Excuse me, starting off with frog in my throat. It's Leslie Hasser with Your Biz Rules Business Coaching, and we're coaching from the carpool. Welcome. I was having to do a little phone maintenance because Facebook app has not been loving me in the last week. So I get all ready to get on with you guys, and then I get a black screen. I don't see me getting on with you. But we're here, so yay for that. It is fall. We're heading into November. I know we like to keep these things evergreen, but I just have to make the comment that these are the dragging days, or the dragon days as my husband calls them, where in Texas we can have a 30-40 degree swing from the morning to the afternoon, as is today, when it started off at 40 some odd degrees, and I think 73 by my car. So getting nice and toasty. If you dressed warm this morning, which I was cold and I dressed warm. So I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're having a great week so far in Wednesday. One of the things I do with the Plano Chamber is sit on a committee called the Success in Business Committee, and we did a really out of the box for us type of luncheon today, and that was all about strategic planning. And so we had another one of our members who's a great business coach actually lead that, and then we had table facilitators, and it was fun to be one of the table facilitators and listen to how people think strategically about their business. There was one occurrence that happened at our table that just is sparking today's conversation, and that is doing what works for you. And how do you know what that is? Because as I like to say, everything works in business and nothing works in business. And what I find is one of those leading things that will have something not work in a business is when we take a blanket approach, or we take a one-size-fits-all type of approach to a business. And this kind of showed up in our strategic planning table up at the chamber. So here's the situation: is we were going through as a small group and working on strategic objectives and SMART goals. Now, strategic planning, it depends on what school you came in and what your definition is for an objective and goal and all that stuff. So I don't want to get into that. That's not the purpose of today. Hey Russ, hey Brent, good to have y'all here. Really what we were talked about is there was a new business there and a quite established business. So one business that was 3 weeks old and one that had been in business for 25 years. Okay, so very dynamically different. And one of the younger business, talked about they have classes to fill, and that they decided not to focus in on getting full right now, but actually to get to minimums in their class. And I think from the sounds of it, they had lots of classes. And it was interesting because the table challenged him when they were giving feedback. They were like, so why do you not want to have a full class? Why are you focusing on this? And it was interesting to watch. So we did that. So fast forward, and we're talking to our established business plan. And he's talking about diversifying the service that they provide. And he really kind of, as we were going through the strategic planning process and really putting some pen to paper on some things, he said his takeaway was he's just going to focus on one new service to bring on and bring that on well, and then ultimately have a greater diversity. And I love these two examples because I felt the need to tell them they were both on track. You're both right? It is for an established business that has established services that needing diversification, then it's smart to bring on one new product, new package, new diversifying. Sometimes I talk about having a yes at every level. In this case, what he's talking about with our 25-year-old business is solving the next problem, if you will. So there's a lot of ways to look at how to diversify your business. This is definitely what I would consider something for a more mature business or established business that is looking to maybe pick up the dollars that they're leaving on the table. Perfectly good strategy of bringing on another service offering and marketing that. Here's like the biggest reason, if I had to tell you my thinking, and I'm getting more used to sharing the thinking that goes on my brain, especially after writing the book, first this, then that. So here's the thinking. For our new business, the problem that they solve is the same, whether they offer a class on Monday or Friday or Saturday, if it's this or that class. Like, the class itself doesn't matter. Their problem that they're solving is defined here, and these are just all the ways that they address it. So it makes sense to him, in that case, to actually look at getting to a minimum level. Plus, he's a brand new business, right? That should be his first goal, is to get to minimums, get to profitability as quickly as you can. Howdy, Sammer, good to have you back. My more established business is talking about solving a different problem. Okay, so the service offering that they have, that their business has been built on, it answers one specific problem for their clients. To add a new service on is actually a separate problem that they're solving. So that is why that was one of those defining moments for me of saying, yes, you are right, and you are right in what you think you should be doing. So just keep X, Y, and Z in mind. I think that level of discernment is really kind of hard, because what I have found is, I don't know what you're getting messages from. I have my windows open. I might have to shut my windows. It's such a beautiful day. We got moms yelling all over the place. So what I have found is, right now, a lot of people are saying, stop, do this, stop, do this, stop doing this, stop. It's very interesting. A lot of stop messaging. Stop. It's not about doing, it's about feeling. And to some extent, they're right. I disagree with the stop doing, because there's a certain point in time to where stop doing everything but start doing strategically comes into impact. And I've yet to see a business that grows that doesn't have momentum, and you have to do in order to get that. So I look at all these things, but there was one message that came across, and I was reading it, and I like Danielle Laporte. She does the desire map, and it's definitely the woo-woo side of input that I bring into my personal experience. But I loved, she talked about, you know what, I'm not going to talk about what I do the way that I've been told to tell you. I'm not going to talk about what I do in, the softer way. I'm going to be hard. Not hard, but I'm going to be out there with it. I'm not going to hide it. I'm not going to soften it just because somebody else says I should. That is that key message, I think, in business, and in developing that discernment for you to know what you should be doing for you, is understanding that you can write your own rules. You can do business like you see fit. You can do business in a way that works for you and works for your clients. I think that's one of my differing points from other coaches is I don't go necessarily with what I per se think. Obviously, my experience comes into play, but I always go back to who I know you to be, and who you've told me your clients are, and what problem you say you've solved. And I look at everything through those lenses. And so if you can get those three things defined really well, and it's actually my mastermind group is working on this to develop their niche, right? And it's all about who they are. This is the homework, guys, right? It's who you are, the problem that you solve, and your ideal client, and knowing what that is. I mean, the worksheet that I have just to define the ideal client is 50 questions long. So it's deep stuff, detailed stuff. And it's always about those kinds of elements that actually should provide your litmus test, or your ability to understand what you should be doing and how you should be doing it, and hopefully the confidence to be able to do it in your own way. I have a question here, so let me check it out. So Salmoner's asking, is it always business needs big money? No. It depends on the business. Honestly, it depends on the business, depends on the investment that you need to make. I will say, and it depends on what you consider big money. Because I wager My big money is not your big money definition, isn't the next person's big money definition. So that's a little misleading to define what big money is. I will say that most businesses do not start or have enough working capital to be able to stay in business. And for most businesses, it takes more money than you think it would, only because you've not been here before. And if you don't have a guide, you're probably going to be misstepping in where you spend some of those dollars. So is it always business needs big money? No. You just need enough money, and you need somebody that can look at those numbers and help you understand whether you're on target or off target. So that goes back, I've done other episodes where I talk about my personal philosophy is that you, as a startup, man, if you could have 12 months operating cash in the bank, you will be putting yourself in such a very different position than if you have 3 months of cash in the bank. Just in case, if you're going to do it on your own, you need time to learn. So same there, sorry, not the best answer, but that's really a vague question. Depends on the business, depends on what you consider to be big money. And but I will say you can plan for it. You can plan for scalability, you can plan for profitability, you can plan for cash flow, and those are often things that most new business owners don't think about. So that's it today, guys. I hope that was a little bit helpful to you. I hope I gave you the courage to maybe forge your own path on this entrepreneurial ship journey. Okay, good, Sam there. I'm glad you said it's clear. Thanks a lot. Okay, good. And join us tomorrow as we hit another Coaching from the Carpool. So if you have any questions or comments, as always, please leave them below. Let me know if there's a topic you'd like me to chat about. I always love input on that, and the two-way conversation is really why I do what I do. And if this message touched your heart, got you to thinking, and you want somebody else to hear it, just share it with them. I'm happy to have them see that as well. So that's all for today, guys. Hope you have a profitable week. My name is Leslie Hassler. I'm with Your Biz Rules Business Coaching, and we're coaching from the carpool.